Big breath in and big breath out. Today we'll talk about forgiveness and letting go of grudges and grievances that we're holding in and around our heart towards another, towards ourselves, towards a situation or scenario. And remembering that forgiveness is such sweet medicine, and it's not about necessarily letting someone off the hook, but it's about freeing yourself. When we forgive, we are detaching these energetic cords that we have plugged into these situations where we felt like we were wronged, and maybe we were wronged, but the healing piece has to turn inward. And the oils offer really beautiful support in helping us pull some of these weeds, help us release some of the hardening that happens around our heart. And I do know that when we hold and harbor resentments and grudges, we're just really hurting ourselves, right? And we forgive not for the other. We forgive for the peace and the freedom that we find in our own selves through the practice of forgiveness. It's said that a miracle could be defined by the shift from fear to love. And if those are the two underlying drivers of anything we do, we want to move from a more loving place, we've got to be willing to release the grievances and the grudges and the need to be right. Like what about just wanting to be real and let go of worrying about being right? Forgiveness really clears the way for peace, abundance, and self-compassion. And when we can actually let go of those grievances and grudges, then we open up the flow for more miraculous goodness to happen in our lives. It really, really works. So we can turn to frankincense for helping us just dissolve some of the barriers or the edges of the grievances that we hold. We'll practice in a minute with frankincense, but I was reading here about forgiveness in the Gene Keys, and in the Gene Key 4, which is all about universal panacea. Forgiveness is the thunderbolt that is released when a being attains Christ consciousness. Forgiveness is like kind of a cosmic warmth that melts the borders and boundaries within the world of form. Forgiveness allows the truth behind all form to be seen. This is a perfect pairing with frankincense because it is the oil of truth, right? It helps us release the heavy, denser energies that we carry in our cell tissue. And this could be about stories of needing to be right or stories of being the victim. And maybe we have been a victim in a certain scenario, not denying that. And I'm not dismissing that you could have been really wronged in some way. Yes, and also we have a choice to free ourselves in understanding that people are only operating at the level of consciousness that they have accessible to them. And it was many years ago at the doTERRA convention, our keynote speaker was Immaculée Ilibagiza, who survived the Rwandan genocide in 1994. And she's traveled the world teaching on the subject of forgiveness. And there wasn't a dry eye in the place when she was telling her story about being held trapped in this tiny, tiny room while these warring tribes were literally killing her family, killing everyone in the village. And she, by the grace of God, survived. And she made the promise to God, if she did survive, that she would be a teacher of peace and forgiveness. And for her to be able to sit across a table to look at the man who killed her family in forgiveness and holding on to her rosary, she's forgive them, they know not what they do. And this isn't making excuses for atrocities to take place at all. And this isn't excusing that behavior in it by any means. But there's a softening and an understanding that that comes into play that is a really powerful force I found in my own life as well. And it really is about caring for your own cells and your own soul. And when you are able to muster the compassion and the understanding and the love of self, then forgiveness can come with more ease. At least that's in my experience. And it doesn't mean you're going to want to break bread with the person that you're forgiving. It is just about cutting the toxic energetic between you and the other, whether it's a scenario, person, whatever it may be. Forgiveness allows the truth behind all form to be seen. Further than that, it allows one to see through and thus become one with truth. There exists a great mystery about the power of forgiveness concerning time, which I find this also quite fitting for frankincense, given how frankincense helps us connect kind of in time and like out of time. There's like this really interesting phenomena that happens in regard to time when we practice and lean into the medicine of frankincense. Forgiveness represents an involving force rather than an evolving force because it literally comes from the future toward the past. It is a divine quality that descends like Christ into the world of form. In descending into human form, forgiveness lays its hand upon all humanity and works its way back through time, burrowing into our collective past, releasing and freeing energy that has lain trapped and stagnant for aeons. Forgiveness moves down the ancestral bloodlines of all humanity in this way, dissolving genetic blocks and lifting karmic curses wherever it travels. Yeah, this is big, big, big medicine. And it is a process, not denying that. It's also a decision. A decision to proceed with that process. Forgiveness is often credited with being capable of inducing miracles because it can release a karmic debt that has stagnated for generations. As such debts are released, those in whom they live can move through incredible transmutations. Forgiveness is a universal panacea that radiates in every direction throughout time and space. It's the final answer to end all questions, and when the first atoms of forgiveness finally travel back to the very beginning of time, as they already have, the world we know will begin to dissolve. When all is forgiven, then forgiveness itself no longer exists, only truth. So, grab your frankincense. We'll practice with that, and maybe call to your heart your awareness of any grievances, grudges you're harboring there. Can you be willing to breathe in a way that releases some of that tension? And then we invite the frankincense in. You can just take a drop onto your palms, rub your palms together, maybe even rub a little bit over the heart. And then steady. Breath in, breath out. Big breath in, big breath out. You willing to open up some space around the tighter edges, the heaviness, the places where we felt wronged. We just turn our own love, compassion, and light of awareness to these spaces and places within us that need this love and support. And inform these spaces and places that it's okay to soften. A hand on the heart is a really nice practice to just feel that presence. Maybe it's you giving yourself the presence that you needed but didn't receive from another. Big breath in, big breath out. Hand on heart, you're just saying, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. You can continue this as long as you need to feel settled. You may feel a release, like a physical release of tears. If there's been some majorly pent up energy in the body, it may feel a little more intense. But just know that the feelings that are buried alive never die, so they've got to come out some way. And so the healthy processing of working with an oil, breathing into the tension and crying it out, very, very healthy processing. Like the tears when we heal are just the old stories leaving the body. I always think about tears as like putting down old baggage. We're releasing. You've got to have that biochemical release to move energy up and out. And while the oils don't do the emotional processing and work for us, they soften the edges to help us, again, pull the weeds out from the root with more ease. So big breath in, big breath out. Here's to deciding and being willing to breathe some forgiveness into your heart and extend it to whatever person, scenario that really needs it in your life. And you know the answer to that one. You know what storyline you could use to detach from and just try to come into a different understanding or perspective and let go of the need to be right. Have a beautiful day, and I hope that served you well. And let me know how that practice with frankincense feels to you. And there's links below if you feel the need to explore purchasing oils. If you want to get the 200 PV promo, a free frankincense this month, links are in. This is December 2024. If you see this at a later date, that promo won't be available, but the links will still be there. Hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Happy holidays.